All right, let's keep talking about use case scenarios here and how they're going to interact with your mesh. So we've got here is, if we turn on this one, we've got this cylinder being cut out of this. I'm going to go ahead and just keep that turned off. Let's say we want to put a panel line right in the middle of this object. So what I'm going to do is, with the cylinder selected, I can go to Brush, Insert, Multi-Mesh Primitives here. I'm going to hit M to select one, or you can go up here and choose one, but you can do Q Cube, and that'll just put a cylinder right down the middle of the back here. Now, it inherited the smooth properties of that mesh. So if I go out of Live Boolean, you're going to see I inserted this mesh here, and it automatically already has dynamic turned on. So if I go over here to Split, Unmask Points, we've got our cylinder selected here, and then it split this one off, and it also inherited that start group. So in order for this object to now be contained within this original start group, go ahead and just turn that off so it doesn't have its own start group, and that just puts it right back into the start group for the cylinder. So now with this selected, let's go ahead and go down to dynamic. I'm just going to turn that off temporarily. So what I want to do is change this cube into a panel line. So I'm going to hit W, and I'm going to scale this down like so, and I'm going to move this into place. So again, if we want to cut a panel all the way through this, we've got to make sure this cube goes all the way through our mesh. So we're going to go ahead and scale this out here. And if we scale this all the way down and move it down, it'll cut a panel straight through. But let's say I want to have it kind of angle in and cut this way or cut back this way. So let's go ahead and we'll move it this way, and we'll have it cut back through that. So if I want to move this panel up, what I can do is hit W, hold down Alt, tap that surface direction, and then just scale it non-uniformly this way. So let's go ahead and go to your Z modeler brush, which for you guys will be BZM, and that'll just select your Z modeler brush. I'm going to hover over this edge, and we're going to insert a single edge loop right about here. And if we go into transparency mode, we can hold down Alt, and if we hit X, we can actually do this across X symmetry as well. So we can hold down Alt and we can tap those, and now we can do Q mesh, either polygroup all or a single poly, doesn't really matter, and now we can just pull this straight out. So now we've got a panel line being cut all the way through. But let's say we want to make it a little bit fancier. We want to make this curved. Well, an easier way to do that is I'm just going to isolate these polygons right here. That's all the only ones I need right now. And I'm going to go ahead and do a delete hidden. For you guys, will be geometry, modified topology, delete hidden. Again, if you want more information on custom interface and custom menus like this, go to my YouTube channel, Intro to ZBrush Part 2. It'll walk you through that. So now that I have this, let's go ahead and hover over this edge, and we're going to go to Bevel Edge Loop Complete. And again, I just hit spacebar and then bevel edge will be complete with the Z modeler active. And now if we want to curve this out a little bit, I can go to Insert, Multiple Edge Loops, Interactive Resolution, and then Interactive Elevation. Just choose those two options and then go ahead and click. And then if you pull left and right, it'll pull it in or out, and then up and down will increase the resolution. So we can go ahead and make that nice and curved. We can hit Control W to go ahead and make this all one polygroup. And now we can do Q mesh, polygroup all, hover over face, spacebar, Q mesh, polygroup all, and then we'll just pull this direction here. So now that we're cutting through, what we can do is turn off transparency, turn Live Boolean back on, and now if we look here, we're going to say, well, it's not cutting through because it's additive. Let's go ahead and make it subtractive, turn off polyframe, and now it's cutting through the mesh. However, when we move this thing down, what it's now doing is cutting through the mesh just fine, but it's not cutting through this object. That's because the order of operations is cylinder, cut panel line, cut this out, and then add this. So if we move this additive up above our cut plane, that's going to go ahead and cut. It's going to do the cut operation after the additive one here. Now, if you don't like these, it's like, you know what, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Again, we can make this subtractive now. Does that make any more sense from a manufacturing perspective? Probably not. If you want to get rid of that completely, just select it. If you're not sure if you want to get rid of it completely, you can just tap this nameplate again and turn the eyeball off, or select another subtool and turn the eyeball off, and you can just hide it. If it's hidden, it's not going to end up when you hit Make Boolean Mesh, it'll just ignore it. So you can keep it around. You don't have to delete it, but you can certainly turn the eyeball off to get the result that you want.